Hey, you summoned a lesser maker. This week, we're going to do a kit bash. Let's take a look at the miniature I'm going to use. I've been doing a thing with hired swords where I'm kind of making a warband out of them. Last time, I kit bashed this witch, and she's going to be the leader of my undead warband. I also need a necromancer, and so I'm going to be kit bashing this Miniac Miniatures Ranger as the base, just to kind of fanboy a little bit. I'm a huge fan of Miniac, and so I really wanted to support his channel and take a look at this miniature because it's honestly really cool. So the scale on this is a little different than GW stuff. So if I replace one hand, I'm gonna have to replace the other. So that's something to keep in mind. Yeah, those hands are really tiny. But other than that, this looks pretty good. The heads probably are about the same. Yeah, that's pretty dead on. Okay. So let's take a closer look at this, and I'm gonna bring this camera over. So this is how the Miniac miniature is supposed to look. I'm gonna go for a much darker theme. I'm kind of going with the theme of like the Witch King of Angmar helmets and masks. The main reason I picked this model to begin with was because I just really liked this crouching pose, but I really wanted a pose for a necromancer reaching down and bringing something back to life, almost like the Sistine Chapel God and Adam painting where the necromancer is reaching and the zombie is reaching up out of the ground, almost touching, and that's the kind of symbolism that I'm going for on this. The crown bits I'm putting on this City of Sigmar helmet are from a Kruelboiz helmet. Typically, miniatures like this Miniac miniature are meant for high levels of painting, and I don't care much about that, to be honest. And I know I have a vision, and I hope that destroying this model gives you the confidence to destroy some of your own, because odds are you'll surprise yourself and make something better. And that's my favorite part of kit bashing, is destroying something, making it worse, and then kind of resurrecting it in the end and making it even better. And that's the kind of fun I like to have, because it almost reflects the miniature itself. It's a necromancer bringing the dead back to life. The bricks on the base here are just clipped pieces of sprue. Then I just started assembling the model from the ground up, and this just makes sure that the head is facing in the right way. Because it's resin, I'm using super glue here. The arms are going to be a bit tricky. The scale of this model was a little different than like regular Games Workshop scale, so I couldn't just swap one arm and then use the other one from the kit. I had to swap both and make sure that they were a pretty good size comparison. And then I glued in the zombie hand and made sure that had that Michelangelo look in hand poses, because I really wanted to reflect that image. And I was really happy with how this pose turned out. You never quite know how it's going to end up, but especially with the prime on, it was perfect. Exactly how I pictured. I'd just like to take a moment to let you know that liking and commenting really goes a long way to help spread this video around to new people. If you are new, feel free to subscribe for more content like this. And if this video hasn't won your sub, make sure you check out the backlog, because I've been making a video every week for more than a year. And I'm trying to make this work, so if you could help support the channel by watching, that would help me out a lot. All right, let's get back to the paint process. I start out painting with Army speed paints, and I've kind of changed the way that I normally paint now by using the Army speed paints as a base coat and then going from there with highlights with pro-acryl paints, and it's kind of changed the way I paint. And I know that's kind of overstated on YouTube, but it really has upped the level of the end product for me. So you can see at the end, I would assume, but it does end up looking really good. And ever since I switched over to this method, going from speed paints to opaque paints really kind of accentuates highlights and details a lot better. For me personally, it doesn't help me to have a game plan or like a formula to paint a miniature. I always think having a broad method is better than having specific like recipes, and that's because each paint job I kind of do something different with it. The model will figure itself out as I paint it, and I know that's probably a backwards way of doing it, but for me, if I have time to think about a project, I'll overthink it. And so just getting down and getting ready to paint and then just putting paint on a model gets it done. And my favorite projects are the ones that are done, which is probably pretty chaotic. But as we close out the video, I'd like to thank my Patreon members: Leroy, Fetter, Caracal, Old School FRP, Burning Heart Custom Creations, James, Anders, Hanover, Grim Drunk, Kruelboiz, Andy, Eric, Corey, Mike, Nicholas, The Lich's Laboratory, Cabu, Cameron, The Pessimist, and Seb. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. I'd also like to give a special thank you to Michael for a super thanks donation. I got that hot wire cutter and we're going to be rocking and rolling next week. So thank you so much for that. I hope you have a great week and have a good one.